Okay, I realized that you actually might like to hear all the stuff I told you about in the last video, so I'm just gonna send you two. But inside, I don't really want to. I don't know that if I really want to talk about it because I'm afraid that it feels really fragile. Like if I talk about what I'm doing inside, that it'll bring back the anxiety. But I told Mom about it last night, so you can ask her. Like, me and Misty have been having all these revelations about how the trip, we were looking for magic, we were looking for a movie, we were looking for a story, we were looking for heaven. We were looking for heaven, and you know what? It's real life. And it's so funny that I never realized that because I've traveled a lot, you know? It's funny that it's like I keep thinking it'll be there because I haven't been to this land yet. It'll be in this land probably. And I think I finally realized that it wasn't in Israel. It was not in Mexico, Cuba, or Albania. It's not in England or Scotland or Ireland or France or Germany. Why will it be in Austria, Switzerland, or Italy? You know, or Wales, if we go there. And why would it be in Africa or New Zealand or Australia or Asia or Costa Rica or South America? You know, why would it be on a remote island in the Pacific or Hawaii or Alaska? It's not in the Grand Canyon or the Appalachian Mountains or Prince Edward Island or the Yukon. You know, it's not in the Caribbean or the Indian Ocean or the Maldives or Tibet or Nepal or Mongolia or the Ural Mountains or the Swiss Alps or the Andes Mountains or the Amazon River or any other fantasy about, or South Africa, about any fantasy I've ever had of any other country. It's inside of me. It's inside of me because what I'm looking for is the kingdom of God. And I'm looking for perfection. Like what we see in movies. What we see in movies is the perfect dream. And that actually is real, but it's real in heaven. And you know, humans, we get so bogged down with religion and how in heaven we won't be able to have romance and epic things. And it's like, heaven is epic. We're looking for every human heart is looking for that perfect magic world. And even scientists and nurses are looking for it. And even the people who aren't drawn to fantasy or movies or stories are looking for it. And it's not here. And me and Misty realized that the other day. And it's been sort of a turning point, realizing that. And at the same time, I'm learning that my place of safety is inside of me too, because it's where Jesus is. Like, Jesus is my safety. It's not my surroundings. Like, it doesn't matter how unstable my surroundings are. He's still there and he's still strong. And inside of me, and it's like, I want to get a hold of that, man. I want to get a hold of it, and I want to be free to live like Mother freaking Teresa or Beatrix Potter. You know, like create something grand and serve people and give and pour my life out and not be afraid to be alone. I'm so tired of being afraid, Lydia. I'm so tired of being afraid. I'm so tired of it. It takes so much energy to be anxious. And you know what I found is that as I was having crazy panic attacks last week because of the culture shock and the instability. Like, we were on trains and we didn't know where we were going, and we were staying with people we'd never met before. We couch surfed, which was amazing, but you know, at first it was scary because we didn't know them and didn't know how to get there. We knew how to get there, but not really. And it just, I was having crazy panic attacks. And you know what I found out? Like, this is going to sound crazy, but every time I would think about home, I would get anxious. I would get nervous. And I would just have to stop thinking about going home. Mom and Dad, everyone involved in my mental breakdown, Jill, Charla, I would just get anxious and not want to think about them or talk or think about going back to their houses or anything. And the other day I realized what I was doing, is when I would go into, like, you know, not doing anything and just kind of be alone in my mind, like on the train or something, I would start imagining what it felt like to be anxious. Like, try to replay that week of mental breakdown over and over again in my mind. And that's how I would fall back into feeling anxious. Like, I would imagine what it felt like to be anxious. And then I would feel anxious. And I would go into a panic attack. And it was like, and I would fight and fight and fight. I haven't taken Xanax since May. But I would have to fight to get back to normal. And I would have to calm myself down. I'd have to pray. I'd have to speak the truth. I'd have to listen to Phil Wickham. I did that on the train, and I missed a lot of beauty because of it. But Misty and I also had a lot of conflict and issues, so we spent 2 hours on the beach on Monday talking through our issues, and then we spent 2 hours on the train on Saturday talking through our perception of this trip, and we come to this revelation, and then we come here to be with Clayton Ivy, who is Missy's old youth pastor, and Clayton repents to her for stuff that happened at Belmont Rivers, and of course he didn't really do anything, but she forgave him, and so Clayton's been, like, basically preaching to us at 2 a.m., but it's been really good. I've been having thoughts and, like, getting ideas for a novel, like a fantasy novel, and we're talking about the power of story, and I say I'm going to write fantasy, and Clayton says it's probably going to be closer to truth than a nonfiction book would be. And it's like, I'm coming alive, and I don't know if it's because of Clayton and Angelica, his wife, or if it's being in a world that looks a lot more like America, being with a lot more people that speak English, being with a language that sounds more like English, but I don't understand the language, by the way, but I can pick up on stuff because of Daddy's constant German. Anyway, like, yeah, and so the point of that was to say that I realized I was doing that, like, recreating the anxiety, because it's almost like I got derived pleasure from it. And so I've had to, like, continually, it's the craziest thing, because in the past I used to have to, like, fit with fantasies, like sensual fantasies about guys. I would have to bounce my thoughts and focus on, thinking about other things. But now I have to actually bounce my thoughts from thinking about what anxiety feels like. Isn't that crazy? But it works. Like, last night I was falling asleep and I started thinking about it. Like, what did it feel like, and who was involved, and trying to kind of figure out why I think that's what it is. I'm trying to figure out why I slipped off the edge like that. And then I was like, you know what? It's not going to help. And so I have to fight. And then I think about something else and I'm fine. So, and I think my medicine's helping. But the coolest thing is, I haven't told anybody this, for me, is that I've actually, despite my medication, which has been dulling my senses and feel like my personality has felt suppressed, I've actually been coming out and being myself more and more. And, like, getting excited about little things like I used to do. I've been getting excited about little things. So I don't know if that means, like, my body's getting used to the Zoloft, like it's evening out, or I am, like, or that all the negative and the suppression of my personality was actually due to other factors, and those factors are being removed, and so I feel more comfortable to be back to normal Sally. I don't know if I was actually depressed or if the Zoloft made me depressed and I'm getting used to it, but I am coming out and coming alive, and I'm feeling better about coming home. I haven't been feeling anxious when I think about home. I think the truth is getting in, the truth that it's all okay, and the people at home don't represent fear. So yeah. The truth is here, and I'm believing it.